Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Can in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and love that break in the mind. Can and the bold. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ken and maybe another Ken in the morning. We do have some slight news coming out of Pittsburgh that Cam Hayward here might be willing to sit out some regular season games until he gets himself a pay raise. And then John Gruden has won at least part of his case against the NFL to where now he can take it to the court system to get it decided. Oh, we might have a Ken coming. I see a little bit of a flicker. But this way, Gruden won't have to go through arbitration to do it. He can go through an actual court to get this case settled. But the NFL can still appeal this thing. Oh, we have a JB in the comments. What's up there, buddy? Hey, what's up there, Ken?
Having some technical difficulties here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm having some technical issues here today. And we've had some bad storms, so I'm lucky I have power right now.
Yeah, that's a huge bonus. Oh, but what are you thinking about this? We got a JB popping in.
The Gruden.
Smoking JB, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, actually smoking JB.
So we talking about Gruden there, Ken?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. The Nevada Supreme Court ruled in favor of him. And honestly, I get where they're at. I mean, look, if the NFL is trying to be a monopoly in this case, right? Like we are the only ones who can adjudicate ourselves, and the court's pretty much saying, no, you don't have the power to do something and then adjudicate yourself. Say, oh no, we didn't do anything wrong, because that's especially when Goodell is the arbitrator.
Right. And the other thing I want to add is this opens the door for Gruden to be a coach again. This is why nobody's interviewed him, is this case right here.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you, I definitely would like to see Gruden as a coach in the NFL again. That this guy is not only a damn good football coach, but he's also entertaining as shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like Gruden.
Even if he's just an offensive coordinator somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Just to break him back in easy, not allow him to run right in at the head of everything. What up, D-Roy?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Hey, Robin DeFeo. What's up, my brother?
You want to know what the funny thing is I didn't realize that they were the same guy, Yinzer and Robbie, at first, because I seen them commenting on one of the shows we did together with the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you guys actually see that injury that Maurice Norris had?
The Lions guy?
Yeah, the one where he got his concussion.
Where he got kneed in the face?
Not the shortened one. I'm talking about the full one where you actually get to see how brutal that impact on the thigh pad was. Did you get to see that?
No. All I saw was the replay of the live clip.
I'm going to load it in. I'm going to load it in for you because this is in slow-mo so you can actually see it. It's the replay that the announcers did before they cut away for the ambulance to get on the field.
Okay.
Here we go, guys.
Yep.
Look at his head snap back as it hits the leg of Nathan Carter. And right away, he was spazzing. Everyone's on a knee.
Man,
you see
that's
how brutal?
Yeah.
So what happened was it was just like the uppercut knockout punch where you hit your head goes back and you hit that nerve on the back of your neck.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he went totally still and was knocked out cold in one blow.
Oh, yeah.
It's more like a whiplash reaction.
Yeah, those perfect timing type of things are absolutely devastating. That's why they teach you in boxing and MMA to counter punch, because that's where you're going to get your most effective and hardest hitting ones, because now the guy's momentum's going into it.
Right. It's that's no different than you or I taking a straight uppercut from Prime Tyson. Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah, we're going to say that looked pretty violent.
But the good news is he's in concussion protocol for 2 weeks. He should be able to return to the team just before the season, because it was looking like we were going to have to keep Lauren Strickland, and I'm not happy with him.
Yeah, Isaac brings up a good point. I would definitely fire a few coaches to get Gruden.
Amen. As an offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, whatever, an assistant to an assistant, whatever I got to do, you bring him into the fold. Hey, it's Timu Joe Rogan.
The whole thing with the Gruden thing is, and here's what I don't get, is that the dissenting justice wrote that Gruden should have known that these emails would be disseminated far and wide to people. Really? I don't know. If I send Ken an email, I don't think it's going to be posted on TMZ that night. You know, the problem with this, and then, because NFL says we did not leak the emails. Really? Dan Snyder didn't post them. Someone else did. And it came from the NFL offices. So
wasn't that to the offensive coordinator of the Washington Redskins football team, Guardians, whatever the Foreskins, whatever you want to call them? Yeah, wasn't that who it was to?
It was the NFL that ended up publishing them, or releasing them. So I don't know. It's just
plot twist. Joe leaked the email.
Yeah, no shit.
But I like Darren Roy's comment. I would never do that. Can anyone see Gruden in Indianapolis? I like that comment because that's actually a good landing spot for him, because their coordinators are nobody.
Yeah, I would prefer to see him with the Giants, honestly.
With the Giants?
Yep. Just because of them having Jackson Dart there, to where he's now has a quarterback to mold. They have a standing fucking defense.
You're all missing the bigger picture.
Malik
this
court
case is going to take about 2 or 3 more years, which means Pete Carroll will retire and Gruden will be back with the silver and black.
I were going to say, hey, Ken, don't say that too loud, because Joe might need to change some underwear.
No,
right there.
I don't think so. I don't think that's the direction that they want to go. Like after Carroll, like I don't think they want to go back to Gruden, because it doesn't. Gruden doesn't really fit Carroll's. They're different coaches and with different philosophies and styles. Like, I think Pete is. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not the owner, so I can't say for sure. I know that Mark Davis really does like Gruden, and he didn't want to have to fire him. He didn't want to have to fire him, but he just kind of had to, or push him to resign because the heat was on, But I don't know. I think Gruden in this would be interesting,
Yeah,
I mean, they got to get a quarterback, but
that's what I was about to say. Maybe if Indy ends up winning the March for Arch.
Yeah, but you forget Arch has another year of eligibility and makes good money on NIL, so more than likely he'll stay in for his 5th year.
Well,
Supposedly
he was talking about not coming out this year.
Right, so follow right along the Manning path.
Yeah,
Staying in college
I
for
don't.
4 years.
In a weird way, I don't get that. Like, if it's like, well, I don't want to come out because I don't like the team that's going to draft me. So what do you do if Indianapolis has the #1 pick this year and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to stay in because I don't want Indy to draft me, and then Indy gets the #1 draft pick the next year as well? Just saying.
And you just got to go with it at that point. He
thing.
tried rolling the dice and it didn't work out.
Right.
He's not going to say, I don't want Indianapolis to draft me. He's going to say, I feel like I need more seasoning in the college game. Like, honestly, I think that's a fair assessment.
That's a politically correct way to say it, Joe. I mean, I'd say it that way too, but look at, even though he's going to say it that way and he's going to be nice and pretty and flowery and have a nice professionally done press release, every NFL commentator in the world, Arch Manning doesn't want to play for Team X.
And that's fine. But I think the truth is, if you watched Arch play last year, like, he's not ready for the NFL. Like, I think he should stay in college a year or 2 more at least to get seasoned. I don't think he's NFL ready right now.
Here's the thing. I think he would go to Indianapolis for one reason. That's where his Hall of Fame uncle went without a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It would be like a legacy thing. I think, honestly, if he went to any of these 3 teams, he'd go in a heartbeat because it would be a legacy thing. The Saints, the Indianapolis Colts, or the Giants.
What do you guys think about him in Tennessee? Or John Gruden is who I mean about him.
I think if Gruden went to Tennessee, he'd be working with first pick overall Cam Ward. Mm-hmm. And they have the rookie quarterback that has the potential that he likes to look for.
First, we're going to assume that Tennessee is going to be so bad that head coach can be fired at the end of the year. That's an assumption we're making. And look, they have a great defense. They have their offense wasn't complete shit last year. Their quarterback was. Well, Cam Ward is half as bad as their starting quarterback last year. They might be a decent team that's not going to be firing a head coach.
Well, to be fair, if John Gruden says that he wants to coach for you, unless you have like one of maybe 5 coaches in the league, you fire him to get him in your building.
And at least I think I can name the 5 coaches off the top of my head right now that are not going anywhere. And that would be Sean McVay, Kyle Scamaham for some goddamn reason.
Andy Reid,
Dan Campbell right now because fans would revolt.
Maybe John Harbaugh. All the coaches in the North are safe for the next 2 years minimum. I think Ben Johnson gets at least 3 years. KOC is doing great things in Minnesota. There's been no even whispers of firing him. LaFleur.
Not to interrupt you, Ken, but holy shit, Yinzer brings up the freaking Death Star scenario.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I would be down with that, but as our other buddy would remind us that they're not going to fire him and he's going to get to 20 and then just retire. That's the problem. I mean, Tomlin, from what I understand, is like going to go to year 20. So this year, next year, then retire. So like if Gruden becomes available then, yeah, that's a match made in heaven, right? Gruden to the Steelers. Oh yeah, gritty football town. That just oozes Gruden. But I mean, it wouldn't be after this season. I don't think Tomlin goes anywhere. Even though I think he should be fired if they don't win a playoff game. Though a couple other people have made a good enough argument to say no, they'll let him stay for year 20 and just retire so he can do his 20 years and retire. And I guess it's just like he gets a pension at 20 versus 19 like the Army. I don't know. But I mean, that does make sense. I mean, there are a lot of Steeler fans who want Tomlin to go, but ownership is like shown no indication that they're even willing to negotiate or talk that. That's the problem. But going back to the coaches that are safe, JB, I would say all the NFC North coaches are safe for at least the next 2 seasons, maybe 3.
The only one that might be is if we listen to fans and podcasters around the NFC North, if LaFleur somehow ends up in the basement. That's the only one that might be gone.
With that though, JB, I think I'd quantify that. If they're an 8 or 9 win team and end up in the basement, I don't think he gets fired.
Right. I get that. I'm saying like if it goes extremely bad.
If it goes extremely bad, all right, screw it, time to go. I might really like LaFleur, and I might have been pulling for him when we were hiring him. But at that point,
I'm not saying it will happen, fans out there. I'm saying it's a hypothetical.
And JB,
that's exactly why I didn't go nuts.
even in that hypothetical, let's say, for sake of argument here, right, that the Packers completely shit the bed and win 3 games this year. They still don't fire LaFleur after this 1 year because they've been in the playoffs the last couple years. This would be his hot. Then I think he'd be on the hot seat the following year.
Wasn't there a rumor about Goody saying the hot seat last year?
Yeah, if he gets a 3-win season, I think he's out the door fast.
That's crazy. Like the dude's had you in the playoffs every year since he started, and
not every year.
I'm obviously
mostly
not every year. So he missed a year. So like he missed 1 year. He's had a winning record, and you're gonna fire him because he had 1 bad season. Like, I don't know. Everybody has a bad season, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like that would be like the warning. The warning Campbell got. I don't think Campbell has a chance of getting fired. I think even if Detroit were to shit the bed and win 3 games this year, of course, it's like, look, if either of these teams are going to shit the bed and win 3 games, that means something else massive has happened. Love is injured and out for the year. Goff is injured and out for the year. There was massive injuries on the teams, whatever. That makes a really good division too. So we have to look at that, take that into consideration as well. It's not going to be one of those, hey, camera's working finally. It's not going to be one of those things where if Campbell, KOC, I had KOC in there too, because why not? We're having this discussion. If any of these 3 coaches were to shit the bed and have a 3 or 5 win season and miss the playoffs, they're not fired at the end of this year. That's the warning shot. Now, if the next year they're still bad or they're not close to a playoff run, then I would think they would get fired. But just off of 1 year, considering the success all 3 of those teams have had over the last 2 or 3 years, I don't think those coaches will get fired. I mean, it's not like Tomlin, who hasn't won a playoff game in a decade, right? I mean, look, for Dan Campbell, back-to-back division champs, they shit the bed this year, right? Okay, if they shit the bed because of the loss of coordinators and injuries, I don't think they fire Dan Campbell because of 1 bad season. I don't think they fire LaFleur in Green Bay if they shit the bed this year because of 1 bad season. If things don't work with JJ this season and they lose a lot of games and win 3 to 5 games because of it and injuries they don't fire KOC because of 1 bad season. If the Bears aren't magically an 11-win team and they only win 7 or 8 and don't make the playoffs, they don't fire Ben Johnson because they have to improve but not destroy the entire world in the process. Right. I think the NFC North coaches as a division are probably pretty safe for next year, no matter what happens this year.
I find Ken's reaction to be quite interesting and telling, because he literally said, no, if he shits the bed, he's out of here. Like, I don't know. Like,
if it was injuries, like you lost Love for the year or that, I'm not going to hold that against him type of thing. But if everybody's healthy and you put out a 3-win season, no, that is not cutting the mustard in Green Bay.
I mean, and here's the thing. Look at who we're playing this year. You're playing the NFC North, of course. You're playing the AFC North, of course. You're playing the NFC East. Lots of good teams. So, if you lose a lot of games, and that's the other thing that's going to be taken into consideration. If Green, okay, I'll agree with Ken with this. If, let's say, no one's hurt, and Green Bay gets blown out in 10 games, like completely just blown out. They're losing games by 3 scores or more, maybe. But if it's like 1-score games, they're close, they were in them, against really good other really good football teams, and they fall short and have a bad season, even if it's a 3-win season, I don't see LaFleur going.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It was just a hypothetical, and I wanted Ken's reaction specifically because he's closer to that team than either of us are.
Yeah, but Ken's reaction was telling, in my opinion.
And Ed Policy kind of had already hinted vaguely to that. Not like he's expecting this in any way.
Remember, after the Lions knocked you out of the playoffs, if I remember right, that was 2 off seasons ago, and there was a rumor he was on the hot seat. And you guys at the first, I know, and that came from one of your beat writers. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's the Gruden in Arizona, yes. Gruden in Cleveland, that'll never happen because you know why? Do you remember when he tried to interview Shaduki Sanders on his podcast and Shaduki was playing Madden and he cut the interview short?
No, I didn't watch that one, but wow. How the fuck are you going to get interviewed by John fucking Gruden and not give him your full attention?
Right. That's what happened was he asked him a question and he went and looked at Madden and was making a play. He goes, just a second.
Yeah,
the interview was cut short.
I don't think, and let's be honest, I don't see any of these teams. I don't see Green Bay going 3 wins. I don't see Detroit going 3 wins.
No,
I don't see Minnesota
don't
going
either.
3 wins. I think, though, if and look at it, like I said, who's going to win this division? Who's going to be in the basement? Flip a freaking quarter. Yeah, flip a freaking quarter this year. I mean, it's like there's nothing clear cut in the NFC North this year. I mean, and every team's got its own questions, which are legit questions to have. But I mean, if Green Bay misses the playoffs and wins 8 or 9 games, I don't even think there's a whisper, except for some beat writer who will.
I was going to say you'd get some whispers from disgruntled fans, because let me tell you, the fucking fan base that has a fucking lukewarm IQ was already saying something about it after the fucking first preseason game.
Right.
Yeah, well, those are your clickbaiters. I mean, and yeah, Dorn, I mean, I don't expect a 3-win or less season from Green Bay, right? But I mean, let's say they win 6. Let's say shit just doesn't break their way and they lose a couple field goal games and an injury or 2 happens and they win 6 games or 7 games and miss the playoffs. LaFleur is not going anywhere.
I knew Dorn would go off the rails with it in the comments because he doesn't understand that it's a hypothetical question, not a real question.
Yeah. He went back to 1956.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, that's the last time we had a 3-win season.
No, I know, I get it.
But it isn't the last time the Packers have been in the basement.
I want to ask, I want to ask Ken, because I don't think a 3-win season is feasible. I think the Packers are much better than that. But a 6 or 7, that's a compelling question that Ken just brought up. What about a 7-win season? Does a 7-win season get LaFleur fired, in your opinion?
It doesn't get him fired this year. It massively puts him on the hot seat, though, to where it's now you have 1 year to correct this shit, or you're gone. Because that policy had already come out when he took over and said he doesn't care about wins, losses, all of that. He wants to see improvement from individual players and the team, and that is what is going to decide if he gets an extension or not.
Now there's one thing, though, where all that – look at Dorn's like, okay, the last time the Packers were the worst of the worst was in 05.
Yeah, right? That was Aaron Rodgers' rookie year, right? Or first year starting.
So no, it wasn't his first year starting. That was his rookie year.
So look, if they're the worst of the best division now, right? Like I can see the knee-jerk reaction, like, oh my God, we're in the basement, fire him. Hey, good morning, Yoli. And that's because, look, the Packers have been the best of the worst for so long that, oh my God, how could everyone have caught us and passed us? And now we're in the basement with 7 wins this season. Fire LaFleur. I'm sure that will happen by some of the fan base and the article writers, because it will be fantastic clickbait. Fantastic. Hell, I might write some of those articles and see if I can make some money too. I mean, It'd be fantastic clickbait. But the reality is when upper management then looks at the record of this year, looks at the team, looks at the teams that they played, and if the games weren't all blowouts that they lost, if they were in games and close, it's like, okay, we had a down year. That's when the cooler head should prevail. But if it's like, oh my God, we're in last place and won 7 games, reactionary mode, then yeah, I could see him getting fired. But I don't think upper management works in reactionary mode when they've got an off-season, when they're knocked out in December and have a month or two to really, okay, take a step back. Let's think about it, because they don't have to make a decision today. When they have a couple weeks to make the decision, they make the correct decision. And Green Bay over time has time and time again shown they will make the correct decision.
Right. And I like Dorn's answer there, giving a realistic one. If they don't make the AFC or the NFC championship game, I don't agree with that, because that means everything's right but 1 or 2 things with the team.
Yeah,
and more than likely it's not coaching.
Yeah, what I personally want to see is us win a playoff game or 2, and I'd be okay with it. I wouldn't be happy, but I'd be okay.
Right.
Anything besides that, just making the playoffs and going 1 and done, that puts them in the hot seat again for me too.
And I think all 3 of us,
hot, but hot.
And I still think that's the goal of all 3 of our teams this year, is to not go 0-1 in the playoffs.
Right.
Because all 3 of us that went did do that.
So the reason I brought that, I wanted to talk about that 7-win possibility or hypothetical, is because if something does happen like that, where the Packers end up with 7 wins, does LaFleur really take all the blame, or does it start to make you rethink Jordan Love as well? Because after coming off of last year and then comes into a 7-win season, like, it's hard to blame LaFleur completely.
It's going to massively depend on how it went. If it looks like it's Love's fault, oh, absolutely. If it looks like it was a mismanaged team, then I think LaFleur is going to take the flack.
And also,
go ahead, Davey.
If the pass rush is just as bad as it was last year.
Yeah.
Because that's your biggest question mark on the Packers team right now, is the pass rush, and the fact it wasn't addressed in the offseason as much as everybody would have liked it to be.
Well, and then also it comes down to, how do you lose games, right? Are you losing games on a last-second field goal or a blocked field goal? Are you losing games? I don't want to say like Eberflus did, because LaFleur won't make those dumb mistakes that Eberflus made. But how are you losing games? Like, is it coming down to, the other team's quarterback making a heroic last-minute drive that puts his team in position to get a field goal and they win the game, or they block your field goal attempt, or are you losing by 2 scores consistently? If you lose a lot of 1-score games, look, that just means you got unlucky on the quarter flip. Basically, I mean, that's the way it is in this league. Look at Minnesota years back. They won 11 1-score games. They were extremely lucky. What happened the next year? They were losing more of those 1-score games, because the 1-score games are almost akin to a quarter flip. And sometimes you get extremely lucky and you can win a rash of them. And sometimes, to no fault of your own, you lose a rash of them. So I think that would be the other component to that, would be, how is Green Bay, if they only win 7 games, the 10 games that they would lose, let's say if they win 7, how did they lose those 10 games? And against what kind of competition? Were you losing, were your 10 losses to, the Ravens, the Eagles, or were they to Carolina and Indianapolis?
In Indianapolis, the Giants.
Yeah.
If that happens, I think we might have to Old Yeller somebody.
Right. So let's talk about this. We'll talk specifically about the teams that I've already predicted on my things as the bottom feeders of every division, because we've already done our division reviews and almost every single one of us agreed where teams will line up. It's one or two in some divisions because the divisions are that good. We all agreed on that. And then there's a couple that were like, they're not coming out of it. Number one, let's go, the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting out of the basement. I think it's between the Colts or the Titans in the AFC South. You don't know which one's going to be worse because one has a new coach, the other one has Daniel Jones, and we all know how that goes.
And the sad thing is Daniel Jones is the best quarterback on that roster.
Well, you don't know.
Right
I'll call it now. The Colts will be the basement because the Titans have a much better defense than the Colts. And like I said, if the rookie quarterback is half as bad as what they had last year, they'll win 6-7 games. And the Colts, with Richardson healthy, not healthy, Danny Dimes, well, he's Danny Dimes, they could be your 3-win team this year. The Colts are just a dysfunctional team right now from top down. And look, I get it. Irsay passes away, so his daughter now is running the team. She's been with them for a while, but it's a new role that she's got to get used to. And I really the problem with Nashville was their quarterback play more than anything. And if they by the draft got they're half as bad at quarterback position than last year, they may actually compete a little bit for that division or make it interesting for them. They'll miss the playoffs, but they'll make it interesting. I don't think I think that's an easy bottom feeder there is the Colts.
Robbie DeFeo, I completely agree with the Saints logo. It looks like a butt plug with wings.
Real quick, before we go further into the divisions, I just wanted to ask King, because this was what I was leading up to, because he said if they go to the playoffs and they're one and done, that it puts LaFleur on the hot seat. So if they go to the playoffs and they're one and done, does it put Jordan Love on the hot seat, in your opinion?
Jordan Love, I'd give a little bit more grace to, unless he's the reason why we lost it. Say he throws 4 fucking interceptions, then absolutely he's on the hot seat. But LaFleur, the only reason why I would put him above Jordan Love for the contention of the hot seat there is because he's been here for a little while, and we have heard the old adage in the NFL that sometimes the head coach's message gets a little stale.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
I mean, it's an interesting question, Joe, that you bring up, because I'll tell you what, if you ask JB the same question, if they went one and done, are you firing Campbell or getting rid of Goff? I would say he'd probably be like, no, we'll just figure out what else went wrong. You know what I mean? That's the difference between, let's say, the rest of the division and Green Bay, because Green Bay has been the best of the worst for so long that they're kind of like, well, in a different mindset when it comes to that than, let's say, maybe the rest of the division. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there is either, but I think I find that the answer interesting, because really, if you get to the playoffs and you're one and done, again, 2 years in a row, it's not necessarily that you're doing things wrong. It's just
you're not improving.
Well, that's not necessarily true though either, because like they're 2 years in a row. I don't say you're not improving per se. Yes, you're not improving because you didn't go further in that regard. But it also comes down to who did you play and what was that story. So, like, for example, last year the Lions lose to an upstart Redskins team that way overachieved and made the NFC Championship game. It's not that the Lions didn't improve last year. They did. They just got a team that had caught lightning in a bottle. And that's no fault to the Lions. That team caught lightning in the bottle. They were on one of those epic tough runs. I mean, so it's not to say, you see what I'm saying? So it's not to say they regressed either.
That also, let's not forget, we didn't see play calling like that since the Tampa Bay game.
So, like, if Green Bay this year gets in the playoffs, and let's say, for sake of argument, let's say you get a Bears-Packers playoff game, and the Bears were to beat the Packers, and the Packers are one and done. Well, okay, but it's not that the Packers didn't improve. It's that maybe the Bears caught lightning in a bottle this season, right?
No.
Or let's say they lose to Tampa, who is one of the perennial favorites or one of the odds-on favorites to make the Super Bowl. So I think I wouldn't say that they didn't improve. It could be that they got a very unlucky pairing, or they caught a team that caught lightning in a bottle. And it's not that they didn't improve this year; they just got unlucky. There's some of that happens.
Mm-hmm. Now,
yeah, but I would have to say if they lost to the Bears in the playoffs, I think LaFleur is done.
No, if they lose to the Bears in the playoffs, you got to go through every single person on that team and Old Yeller, each and every one of them, players, coaches, lawn staff, everybody.
Even the lawn guys.
If the Bears were to make a run, it would be somewhat akin to the Redskins last year, because maybe they would have to catch lightning in a bottle. I think most people would think, to make a deep run in the playoffs. So, and it's not out the realm of possibilities. We see it every year. Someone catches lightning in a bottle. Let's say, for sake of argument, it's the Bears. Let's say the Bears actually catch lightning in a bottle this year and beat some teams in the playoffs. Like, let's say they beat the Packers in a playoff game, right? And they're the lightning in the bottle team this year. I mean, I agree with you, Joe, because the fact that it would be the Bears, people would be like really pissed off.
I was going to say, Ken,
but when you sit back and then you go, well, wait a minute. Let's analyze. Okay, well, they caught lightning in a bottle. They got extremely lucky. They peaked at the right time. There'll be a million other factors that go into it, not just that it was the Bears beating the Packers.
Now, Ken, if you wanted me to hang myself, you just could have said that instead of saying all those extra words.
I mean, look, because every year there's going to be a team that catch light. There's always a team that catches lightning in the bottle. It happens every year. So if you lose to that team, and we're getting sidetracked. I said the Bears. So okay, let's say it's Arizona catches lightning in the bottle and beats the Packers in the first round of the playoffs, and they're that lightning in the bottle team this year. I wouldn't say it's because they risk
exactly
now.
Right.
Now look at.
No, I think your point. I think your point is valid, Ken. Like, you're talking with the lightning in a bottle teams. Like, I don't disagree with you. That wasn't why and I don't even think that it's not that the Bears are capable of pulling off a run like that. The reason I said LaFleur is automatically fired is because it's the Bears. It's that. There's just no way that Green Bay is going to be able to sit with that all offseason and be like, we lost to the Bears in the playoffs. Like, LaFleur's gone, and not just LaFleur, but they might have.
The point
they might have Jordan Love on the auction block too.
The bigger point I was getting to with it, though, is like, so let's say they go one and done this year because they catch a light in the bottle team. I don't think that LaFleur is like, he's still getting to the playoffs. But here's the thing: 2 years, you're like going, okay, dude. The seat's going to warm up a little bit. I think
that's what I'm saying.
But I don't think he's like, it's not danger hot. It's just like, hey, the butt warmer's on level 1. Okay, show us a little something. Now, when you get to where the Steelers are, and it's been 8 or 9 years since you've won a playoff game, that seat should be on fire.
So I was going to say, if it goes 8 or 9 years without winning a playoff game in Green Bay, somebody's getting dismembered.
So I mean, if they go 2 years, if they were to go 2 years of one and done in the playoffs, I don't think LaFleur is fired per se. I think the seat gets warmed up a little bit. Now, if it becomes 3 years of one and done, now they're going, we may seriously have to relook and maybe make some changes, because last year, dude, you lost to the Super Bowl champ. Packer fans knew going into the game that they were probably going to lose it. Even Ken picked the Eagles to win that game.
No. I said they were probably going to win it. I still picked Green Bay.
Hey, Danny. So I mean, look, if they get buzzsawed again, if they were to get buzzsawed by the eventual Super Bowl champ or lose to the eventual Super Bowl champ in this year's playoffs, once again, that's a mitigating factor that you look at. So,
to be fair,
if they go one and done this year,
we've lost in the playoffs, it's been to either the Super Bowl champion or who went to the Super Bowl. I'm tired of that shit.
Hey, you're welcome. The good thing is, I do what I can to make your mornings good. That's all I can
You know say. Who you haven't lost to the playoffs to since '96? The Cowboys.
Oh, fuck no. Oh, you mean Lambeau Field South?
You're right.
Undefeated.
That's the funny thing that you bring up the rating system, because it's got a team logo. It's a rating system. It's a rating. They could be the basement in the NFC East just as easily as
they are very volatile this year.
Right.
I think they're a massive question mark. They're either going to be number 2 in their division or the basement. That's what
I think they're third at best, but still make the playoffs. I think we might see for the first time 3 teams possibly from 2 different divisions in the NFC.
Is that even possible?
I think so. There's 7 teams, right? 4 winners. Yeah, that's possible. That means all the wild card teams would come out of those 2 divisions.
Yeah, 2 from the East, 2 from the North would have to, and then like out of the South you'd get Tampa, and out of the West you'd get LA probably, and that would be it.
Right.
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting because then you would see.
You could get a situation where 4 teams come out of 1 division.
Right. If that happens, then nobody else gets a wild card team, and you know who the best team in the division is. And there's a very slim chance that you could see our division have all 4 teams go 10 plus wins.
Yeah.
Because we've all improved. Well, and I'm going to say this now. The Lions were up here last year compared to everybody. Minnesota was the closest talent-wise, and it showed in the record, correct?
Yeah.
And despite all the 1-score losses you guys had since week 6 or week 7, whatever it was for the Bears, where it was new and interesting ways to lose every fucking week.
God damn it was.
Hey, you ruined Yinzer's day, so JB's got to ruin yours a little bit, man. It's only fair.
I was the one who was saying that we're going to find a new and interesting way to lose the game, and we did. And I think where JB is going with this is the massive improvement there is the coaching.
Right. There's coaching levels that have increased on the teams outside of the Lions, and that's the question mark on the Lions. That's the bigger question mark because we still have the same offensive line coach who taught all those guys how to block. And that's where I was going with the Lions. So I don't have the offensive line as big of a question as everybody else does, especially since Decker's back and everything else. So, I just think everybody close that gap, and it's more like we're all just layered on top of each other, and we don't know where anyone's going to finish right now.
All 4 teams in the NFC North have legitimate question marks on their team for one thing or another, and they're all legitimate question marks. And you know what's funny? All 4 teams could answer those questions in the positive. And JB, you're 100% right. You could have. We'd have to win a lot of out-of-division games against 2 very tough divisions, but you could have a situation where you have 4 teams that are 10 wins or better. And I said that last year, and then, of course, the wheels fell off not just the wheels, but the steering wheel, the tires, the muffler, and I think the engine block was dragging by the end of the year.
You had your blinker fluid leaking.
Yeah, everything fell off the car in Chicago, but
we call that the Stockton special, Ken.
After week 6, the basement in the NFC North through 6 weeks last year, the basement was 4-2.
That was you guys.
That was us. At 4-2 was the basement. So imagine this, though. The wheels don't fall off the truck in Chicago last year, and they win 5 more games even, right?
4. Just 4 more games.
Even 4 more games. But 5 more games probably puts them in the playoffs.
Or at least where you were dependent on another team winning or losing.
Right.
That's where it would have been. You'd have been the Bengals of last year at that point.
Yeah. So JB is not off the mark with that. And honestly, from what I've seen in the preseason right now, it's hard to judge in the preseason because we haven't seen certain things. Like we haven't seen the Bears offensive line because, they didn't play. We saw a little bit of JJ McCarthy. Okay, some rookie cobweb, some rookie jitters, if you will, a little bit. But everything vanilla, fine. For the Packers, we didn't see their best game ever in Lambeau. But once again, how many of the starters were in there? For Detroit, we've seen something where Justin May, the rapper, wanted to fight Joe, and then they came back and won the last one. So, I mean, they look like, though, they're all tracking. All these teams look like they're tracking, and what you're hearing from beat reporters, what you're hearing from coaching, what you're hearing from players themselves, it's going to be interesting.
And if you look on paper, the talent level of all 4 teams in the NFC North, just looking at the player talent level for the starters, not the depth, I'm talking just starters, all 4 teams look like a legitimate playoff team with minor question marks here or there.
Yep.
Did you see Ken's face when you mentioned how many starters played? Oh, dude. It was like you kicked his puppy, dude. Like, I'm guessing there was a lot more starters out there than Ken wanted to admit. He's
yeah, most of the starters were out there.
Green Bay has the cinder block hand issue, right?
No, I'm telling you, what the receivers did is they were out all off season, finger banging Medusa because they got hands of stone.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't hands of stone. Get it right. They started hanging out with the popcorn girl at the theater.
So really what it was is they wanted to be like the girl in the pistachios commercial, so they cast their hands in concrete. That's what it was.
Their fingers were all buttery. Their fingers were all buttery from the popcorn. Hey, so going back to the divisions, like, I'm curious about, like, JB, do you see Seattle being in the basement in the NFC West?
No, I actually see San Francisco in the West. I see San Francisco falling off because McCaffrey's hurt and going to miss like at least the first 6 weeks. You got Ayuk is hurt. You got Juwan Jennings, who doesn't want to play because he didn't get his money. They lost Deebo Samuel. They have not been, when Deebo Samuel and McCaffrey is out of the game, Brock Purdy has played his worst games of his career. We saw that last season.
Ayuk is out for at least 6 weeks. I mean, you got no Ayuk, no CMC, contract issues. You spent all this money on Kittle, which is great. You paid the man, but Kittle's kind of in decline a little bit production-wise as well.
That's what I was going to say.
I love Kittle. He is, though. I'll say this, though. Even with him being in decline, he is that energizer bunny that gives that team life. Right? So even though he's in decline, it's mitigated. His decline gets mitigated because he rallies that team on the bench and in the locker room. And so, but I agree. I kind of agree with JB. I see them as the basement, too. I think even Arizona has a more complete team.
Yeah, I would say they're probably in the basement, but I don't think Seattle's much better. I think their offensive line is absolute garbage.
From what I watched of their preseason game, their offensive line looks a lot better. They did a massive changeover with young guys. So it looks massively better than what we have seen over the past couple of years.
Okay.
That's also preseason.
But I understand that preseason. I don't
disagree with you, JB. Like, you make a compelling argument for the Niners. Like, I wasn't going into it thinking the Niners are winning the division. Like, for me, it's a 2-horse race between Arizona and the Rams. Like, I kind of see Seattle in the basement because of that number one, that offensive line.
Now look, Dorn brought this up earlier, though. Not to cut you off, Joe, but you need to add this. Dorn brought this up earlier. Not just the Raiders in the basement. That's for the next topic. But Stafford's disc injury, if Stafford has to miss significant time, that completely changes the picture in the West.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing I want to say is let's go to the same division but opposite conference in the AFC West. After losing Rashad Slater, the Chargers now have the worst O-line in that division because he was the reason why that O-line was so good. The blind side of Justin Herbert was protected like none other. I think he said he gave up one less sack than Penei Sewell when they were drafted in the same year. So if you think about that,
but Joe Alton's pretty freaking good too.
That's what I was about to say. You got to assume they're going to kick him from right to left now.
Right, but then that means his side he sees isn't going to be protected as well.
Yeah,
we all
definitely a hit. Yeah,
we're talking about bookends. But they had the best bookend tandem in the division. They were the number one O-line. The loss of Rashad Slater makes that the worst O-line in the division right now.
And I don't think it's just the passing game that gets affected because Rashawn Slater was also a good run blocker too.
Right.
And so I think it affects their running game as well. And like if you watched the Chargers last year, it wasn't just Herbert slinging the ball around. Like he actually threw the ball a lot less. And they were more of a running based team.
I think
So
Omari Hampton helps though with that in the run game. They did well to select Hampton. The Chargers are an interesting team because a Harbaugh coach team is always a good team.
Yeah, and let's put it this way, but they did sign Najee Harris to be the power back, but he's keeping an eye out on Pittsburgh.
I mean, it's
Thank you, because I was going to make Apache the Pirate.
the AFC West is just as interesting as the NFC North, though, because there are some good questions everywhere. Like even Kansas, what's Kansas City? I mean, really? I mean, there's
Kansas.
Questions all over that team.
You cannot understate the loss of Joe Thuney to that offense.
No, you can't. And then you go to Denver, it's like, okay, yeah, kid had a great rookie season. What's year 2 going to look like for Denver? I mean, Denver just is like, a lot of people just give Denver this free pass. Oh, they're going to be really good. Well, geez, we did that to the Texans. And the Texans are in a weak division. So sure, they still looked decent in their division, but they had trouble against good teams last year.
I think a lot of the Denver thing is the Sean Payton effect. That they
and the
figure
fact
with
that-
him being the head coach, they are going to be a good team.
And the least sacked quarterback in the division.
There is no clear-cut answer, though, in the AFC West, just like there's no clear-cut answer in the NFC North.
Also, as quiet as it's being kept, like Denver pretty much has like a second coming of the no-fly zone, and their defense is ridiculous, dude.
He says Thuney washed up. You saw that last season. You must have only watched the Super Bowl last season.
When he was only game tackle.
Yeah, that was the only game he looked washed. But he was playing out of position at the right tackle position, I believe it was.
No left tackle.
Are you okay? Either way, he was playing at the tackle, and he was beat. He was beat worse than a whore outside a naval base after payday.
There's a visual for you. Yeah, I mean, look at the AFC West. I mean, you can't understate the more degradation to Kansas City's offense. You can't understate the lack of bringing in weaponry for that offense. You can't understate that defense is going to see more time in that field and be weakened. And you've got Harbaugh, which always, even when you count his teams out, he finds a scheme or a way to make them highly competitive. You've got a Raiders team that's vastly improved with better coaching. You've got a Denver team with great coaching and a rookie quarterback who showed out last year. And like Joe said, that defense is starting to become a no-fly zone out there in Denver. I mean, could Dorn's statement be true? Could the Raiders be in the basement? Sure. But you know what? You could say make that case maybe for the Chargers. You could also maybe make that case maybe for Denver. I wouldn't necessarily make that case for KC just yet, but I think it's a very close division.
I do too. I think that division is closer to our division than the AFC North because of Cleveland being so fucking bad.
No, Cleveland's not that bad though. That's just the thing though.
Bullshit.
Like you talk to Cleveland fans. Look, Cleveland's got a stellar defense. Their problem has been the quarterback position. Yeah, we all joke they got 5 or 6 guys at the quarterback position. Let's say Sanders didn't look bad.
Most of our teams in the division have wide receivers.
Let's say though, look at Sanders did not look bad in his preseason. Let's say they get good quarterback play in Cleveland. That's all they need. They just need to avoid the 3 and outs. So I mean, if they got
what is preseason for these young guys in the NFL? Practice.
If they get decent quarterback play, that decent quarterback play just needs to make series go longer than 3 and outs. If they can put up even 14 points a game, that's all that defense probably needs to work with in Cleveland. I think if you think about it, Cleveland could be that surprise team that everyone's saying, "Oh my God, we never thought they'd win as many games they have." Dude, they just need to get competent quarterback play, somewhat competent quarterback play, and that defense can carry that team a long way.
Before I hop off to my program, I will answer this for Zachary Morris. Ken up there on the upper left is a Packer fan. Ken on the right is a Bear fan. Joe Timu Joe Rogan here is a Raiders fan, and I am a Lions fan and intern beat writer.
Yeah, we talk about the whole NFL here, not just one specific.
Yeah. So I mean, but
I gotta go.
All right, have a good one, Jimmy.
Hey, and I just want to ask Zachary Morris, did it break your heart when Kelly Kapowski left you for that college dude?
Oh, wow.
Have a great day, everybody.
See you in a bit, JB. And there's Isaiah this morning with a Go Pack Go.
Hey,
good morning,
go
Isaiah.
Pack Go, buddy.
But I mean, honestly, though, think about it. Cleveland is a team that everyone shits on because it's easy to, with all the stories and their dysfunctionality with the quarterback position, they have a phenomenal defense there in Cleveland. If they get even somewhat confident quarterback play, and they can just avoid going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, so that defense doesn't get wore down, and they can put up points now and then, whether it be Flacco, or it be Pickett, or it be Shaduki, or a combination thereof. If they can put up 10 to 14 points a game and not be 3 and out every series, they're going to win games.
Yeah, but I still think 10 to 14 points a game out of those quarterbacks is going to be a tall ask.
I don't think it's a tall ask out of Flacco.
Joe Flacco, I will give that to you for part of the year.
And
I don't know, man. Shador didn't look bad, dude.
It's the first preseason game.
Well,
yeah, I understand. You didn't hear me say he's going to win the Super Bowl, but Shador, give him his credit because the dude's
I thought you were going
like fifth string. On us. The dude's like fifth string. He's a 5th round draft pick, and honestly, he looked poised. Like he performed under the lights, man. Like, I said it from the beginning. I think he's going to win the quarterback battle in Cleveland. I really do. I think he's going to end starter.
So Cleveland's not going to be as bad as we all joke about them to be. They're not an automatic W for anyone. They're going to be a hard-fought game because their defense. And like I said, if their offense can just if their defense can stay fresh because their offense isn't 3 and out, that's a defense that can create fumble, strip sack touchdowns, pick sixes, and stuff like that, where defense might 0-6 Barrett.
Yeah. Cleveland shouldn't be counted out.
They're not. So, that's a team. And yeah, Bros, you're right. Preseason is meaningless. In terms of records, win or loss is true. But, you can start to see how players are, especially some of the quarterback at the quarterback position, how they handle pressure, how they handle being under the lights. You can see a little bit of that. And Shador Sanders actually composed himself pretty well in this preseason game. So if he could continue that and keep trending north,
there you go.
Right? Then it's a good start for them in Cleveland with him. And look, I said it earlier, if he becomes a starter and they win 7, 8 games, 9 games even, or become a threat for the playoffs, that management team in Cleveland goes from being the laughingstock to looking like they're effing brilliant for making that trade and doing it the way they did. So, another gambit that could pay off. And look, actually, I think they look good either way you look at it, because if Shador doesn't pan out, then they look great for not taking him 2 overall, trading out, getting a bunch of capital for it, and then taking him in the 5th round.
You know somewhere right now, just because of this show, Mel Kiper has his pants around his ankles.
And a belt around his neck.
Yeah, on that last terrible great take, it is a Tuesday, so enjoy your Tuesdays, everyone. We got some joint practices coming up this week. I will keep eyes on that, There's some minor transactions, nothing we really need to get into today, so keep checking your minor transactions. With most of these transactions are going to be guys you have no clue who they are, because we look at it and go, who the hell was that guy? That's to be had. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll have some other good stuff to talk about. Great conversation today. Thank you, JB, for coming in. Thank you, everyone in the comments. Zachary, we hope to see you back here tomorrow, but tell Screech to stop calling Ken so much. All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day.